What's up, guys? This is Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down some very big news that just came out involving Trump's tariffs. They may change very soon. This could cause a big move in the markets for Tesla, SPY, and every other stock out there. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposits $2,000, you're guaranteed 30. Anyways, so as far as the market's going, okay, I'm eyeing this possible inverse head and shoulders on Tesla right now. If we could try to base here or at least make a higher low, that's a good sign that this could try to reverse a bit. We're seeing something very similar on SPY that could be developing unless we end up losing these lows that could invalidate this. So we'll see if we could try to make a higher low or not. But the reason I'm saying this is because we have a big update. So it's just been said by the Commerce Secretary of the United States, Howard Lutnick, that President Trump is set to announce changes to the tariffs on Canada and Mexico this afternoon as he considers rolling back their rates on sectors such as autos. So that's some big news. We're seeing Canada and Mexico basically racing right now to make a deal. We're also seeing some news that, we're seeing this all over the news, at least in a lot of mainstream sources, that as soon as today, there could be a lot of changes. The Trump administration is signaling that the tariffs against Canada and Mexico may soon have some exemptions. So this is big news, okay? If some announcement comes out by Donald Trump that, hey, these tariffs on Canada and Mexico may actually have lower rates for particular sectors, such as the auto industry, if he says something very different like that, that could cause a big move, at least for the markets. It's going to cause possibly a bounce. So we'll see if that ends up happening or not. Nothing is guaranteed yet, but this could be very big news going into tomorrow. So please keep that in mind. I also want to add that when it comes to the way at which we're looking at things, our ISM sector is not looking as good. The services sector is relatively weak in a lot of different ways. So what was good is the services PMI was at 53.5. That was technically above expectations. However, business activity was as expected. Employment was still decent, but services prices is pretty bad. This is at 62.6. This is well above expectations. So I would say the services sector was holding up decently, but what wasn't too good was services prices are quite high, showing signs that inflation is continuing to rise. So please keep that in mind. Now, there is some news coming out that Tesla is also trying to respond to the big sales drop that we're seeing. One of the things they're trying to do is they're offering more incentives such as free charging and better financial deals. They're once again trying to boost their demand in different areas. They're also introducing low interest loans, so that is going to help them make their cars more affordable, at least to some customers. So that's how Tesla's trying to offset the fact that their sales in Europe are down quite a bit. It just came out that their sales in Germany are down over 70%, and then their sales in China are down about, between around 12% year over year in February. So not the best of news. Or I'm sorry, 51% in February. It's 51% in February and 12% for January. But this, with China, you have to consider the Lunar New Year. That was like another factor affecting them. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, as far as this market's going, we're going to be looking at Tesla real quick. So we're technically dipping, right? The market is dipping right now. We're not officially in a big bounce phase, but I'm eyeing the possibility of a left shoulder here, a head that could have been forming up here, then maybe like a right shoulder, which could have led to a big bounce if we had broken structure. It is possible we dip a little bit more, so we're looking for the support at 270. If that fails us, I'm looking for this yellow trend line. So the yellow trend line is where we tried to bounce very close to yesterday. That's going to be very close to about the 265 area. And if we break that, we're looking for 262. So make sure you watch those levels just to be safe. The word did come out that their sales are down in like Germany and lots of sectors like that. So it's no surprise we're dipping just a bit. However, like I said before, okay, so far the news for Tesla specifically is bad as this is continuing to fall if you guys look at the 4 hour time frame. But despite the fact that we're dipping like this, if you look at our like MACD, for example, this is trending upwards. It's starting to trend upwards. So this is technically a bullish divergence that's beginning to develop. So could we dip more? Yes, we can. We could still see this continue to fall down to these levels. It's always a possibility, right? We could dip a little bit more. But then with this news coming out involving the tariffs on Canada and Mexico, if they are changed this afternoon, and this is what the Commerce Secretary keeps on saying, he says it's going to happen this afternoon, there could be another deal that's coming. If they change the deal and the tariffs are less strict, and the whole market bounces, we could be looking for Tesla to rebound towards these imbalances. We'll be looking to see if we could get back above like 285 to hit 290, then hits 294 to really start pushing. And we'll see if we get some kind of bounce later on if this tariff news does cause it. So keep that in mind. That's going to be a big factor affecting Tesla. For SPY, the same thing. We are bearish right now, just like how Tesla is for the short term. Um, we have to see if we could hold this low at 572. I'm watching 575 as a support, not to mention the support right here at 573. So watch those areas. If 575 fails us, I'm looking for 573. And then if we do base, if we can make a higher low, there's a chance we might see a big reversal if these tariffs do end up changing. And keep in mind when you go to like our 30 minutes time frame, there is the possibility of an inverse head and shoulders. Not a guarantee, it's just a possibility. So I'm going to watch and see if this pans out. I'm going to be very patient. We're going to be looking for many confluences, and we'll see if this news is the catalyst to bring this market right back up. We'll see just to be safe. Notice the QQQ has a very similar setup, right? We have a very clear, symmetrical looking inverse head and shoulders. There's like a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. However, we have to see if we could hold 492 as support and also 490. If we lose 490, we're looking for a bigger dump. So we'll see just to be safe. With the inverse head and shoulders here, we need to see if this could break past like 495 or so to make a big move back up. So we'll give this the time it needs. So I'm going to be very patient with this. Do we see a left shoulder, head, and then a right shoulder on the QQQ and start bouncing? Or do we end up breaking structure right here around 490 to start dipping? We'll see just to be safe. So far, the market's trying to base. And we'll see. Does this news involving the tariffs changing cause the market to bounce? We'll see about that. Notice a similar setup on the Russell 2000. We have a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. This could also lead to a big bounce if that ends up being the case. We want to see us hold at least above 204. If that holds, it's going to be quite good. ES sort of has this. It's not as strong looking. We're still kind of weak compared to like SPY. But let me just say that there is the possibility of a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. Could that cause a bounce? If we lose the support here at 57.50, it's not going to be a good sign. We're kind of close to that. So I need to see it bounce near here, and we'll see if Trump's tariffs help that. Notice NQ is what's leading the QQQ right now. We have a potential left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder that could be forming, causing some kind of bounce. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. Nvidia, very similar setup, right? We have a possible left shoulder, a head, and then like maybe a right shoulder, which could lead to a bounce. We'll see if we could hold 114 just to be safe. If we lose 114, we could be dipping towards like 112. Even if we dip to 112, it's still in line with the left shoulder, so it could dip a little bit more. But Nvidia is showing some resilience. Apple is looking a little bit weak compared to the market. This is what's causing a bit of a dip. There's some bad news that came out that caused this dip, so just keep that in mind. And we're going to be watching to see if we could hold 230. If not, we could be dipping closer to like 228. And if we do hold this, we could be looking for 235. So we'll see how it goes. For a few more tickers, we have Coinbase. Coin is kind of stuck in the middle, very, very much just shuffling. We need to see if this can make a higher low. So one thing that's happening is we have this low up here. We're coming up to the 200 EMA. Will we make a higher low and try to hold support here near this like 210 to 205 area before we try to rebound higher? We'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. So I don't care about if this bounces or not. I just care about can we make a higher low. That's the main thing. And if we do bounce, hey, it's even better. Amazon has the same setup as SPY, or the QQQ actually. Inverse head and shoulders right here. We'll see if we push higher or not. As long as we don't lose 200, we're going to be fine. This is a bullish looking setup. Meta, same thing, slanted inverse head and shoulders. We need to break past 650 to really start pushing, so we'll see about that. Microsoft, inverse head and shoulders. If we start breaking out, we're looking for essentially 394. Google is a little bit weak compared to the markets. But could this be an inverse head and shoulders? It's a possibility. This one's a little bit tricky. This kind of looks like a left shoulder, maybe. This is like a head, and then maybe we could be forming like a right shoulder like this. Maybe. We'll see about that. But I do see some downside for now that could be coming. We could be getting closer to like 171 before it tries to rebound. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, so that is it for my video. I thank you all so much for your attention. We'll watch and see if these inverse head and shoulders pan out or not. I'm eyeing this for Tesla. This looks like a nice setup, but we'll see just to be safe. Let's just be very patient and let's see if Donald Trump ends up announcing changes to his tariffs. Because if that happens, It's going to cause a big move in the markets. Anyways, that's it for this one. Have a good one, guys. I'll be back once again in a couple of hours for another update. Until then, take care and peace out.